My mind's playing tricks on me. Why won't it let me be? Look inside and try to find, but nothing seems to give me sweet relief. Why won't it let me be? Look inside and try to find, but every time it seems I lose my mind. My mind. Oh, It's Self-Helpless with Kelsey Cook, Delaney Fisher, and Taylor Tomlinson.
Thanks to Myro for supporting Self-Helpless. Myro is a subscription-based deodorant that comes in a refillable case, keeping you smelling good and helping the environment. For 50% off your first order for only a $5 total purchase with the discount, visit mymyro.com/helpless and enter promo code HELPLESS.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Self-Helpless. I'm Kelsey Cook.
I'm Delaney Fisher.
And I'm Taylor Tomlinson.
And today we are so stoked to have this kick-ass guest. We've been wanting to have her on for a while. She's a certified financial planner, entrepreneur, woman, wife, mother. She is invested in helping others undergo financial transformation. She hosts the podcast Profit Boss Radio. It discusses what powerful and successful women really think and feel about their finances. And she also gave a 2013 TED Talk, which is so cool.
Yeah.
And she's an expert in behavioral finance and money psychology. Please give it up for Hillary Hendershot.
Yes!
Hi, ladies.
Hi! Oh my gosh. I'm so excited that you're here, Hillary. A few months back, I came upon your podcast and I binge listened to a bunch of episodes and completely fell in love with you and the way that you approach and kind of tackle these topics. And yeah, we are just thrilled that you're here. So if you want to go ahead and tell us your favorite or least favorite quote to kick off the show, why don't we start there?
I'd love to. And there's actually controversy about who actually said this quote, which I think is normal. Like, it seems like half the quotes on the internet are attributed to Albert Einstein. This one is either, it seems like this one is either William Hutchison Murray or John Paul Goethe. But anyway, here goes. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meeting the material assistance, which no woman could have dreamt would have come her way. I have learned a deep respect for one of Goethe's couplets. Whatever you do or dream, you can begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it.
Oh,
damn!
I love that.
Crushed it
so much. That's one of my my favorite quotes from The Artist's Way. You know the book The Artist's Way?
Yes. Oh, I do those morning pages.
Yes, aren't they life-changing? Yeah, so that's like every time I read the book, I just underline that quote every single time. It's so good.
I get so inspired when I read it. It's like actually hard for me to control my voice. I love it.
Just picking up tables and throwing them. Real intense adrenaline.
I know.
So good.
And then we had Hillary on and she started crying.
Openly weeping. Yeah.
Awesome. So Hillary, if you want to just give us a little bit about your background, how you got into this and like your own personal like financial freedom journey, I would love to hear about that.
I do. So I'll give you the high points and then we can dig into anything you like.
Awesome.
So in 1999, I'm a few years out of college. My father brings me into his financial planning practice. I'm supposed to be his business continuation plan, but most of his clients are 30 years older than me, and I'm frankly completely A, bored by what I'm doing in the office, and B, I look around me and all I see is old white men doing what I do, right? And I'm thinking I'm the wrong age, I'm the wrong gender. Like, I don't know how this is ever going to work out for me. So fast forward a couple of years, and I had to get honest that I had some financial troubles myself. Turns out I'm really good at math. I'm really good at the stock market. I'm really good at investing. What I'm not good at is not spending when my money's gone. So I have tens of thousands of dollars in debt. I had one of those mortgages. I don't know if you heard about them. They were called negative amortization. And it means that your mortgage balance actually goes up every month, past what the property is actually worth. It was such a terrible decision, especially for, again, someone who's not math stupid, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so I had to just get really honest, and I negotiated the credit card bills, and I actually lost the condo. I walked the keys to my leased BMW back into the credit union. I was like, here you go. I don't own this anymore. I'm not paying for it anymore.
Wow.
I moved out of my condo for a little bit, rented it out, lived in my mom's guest room. I mean, the whole bit, just like disassembled everything.
Wow.
And I mean, that obviously really humbled me, but it gave me a lot of compassion. And I decided, look, if I can figure this out, I bet I can give it away. And so I started making more and more money as a financial advisor, and I wanted to build a brand around that. And around that time, I joined a mastermind of about 10 or 11 other women. It was led by a business coach. And I got, for the first time in my life, what it was like to be a woman who supports women and is supported by women. And I was like, this is my home. This is it. This is me. This is what I want to do. Like, this feels right? That when I go to look for a doctor, I want a female doctor. Well, there have to be women out there who want a woman professional to work with them on their money. So that really is the kind of the 1, 2, 3 punch of how I ended up being a financial advisor who specializes in working with women and also a wealth coach.
Man, that is so cool.
So awesome. Oh my God. I got so many questions.
Yeah.
Go for it, Delaney.
Just chime in if you want. So I know on your show, you talk a lot about the money mindset and like shifting all of that. Can you talk about like, what was your money mindset when you were in a lot of debt and it, kept piling on versus what your money mindset is like now? And how did you change that?
Yep. So money is, first of all, very conceptual. We human beings made it up, and then we forgot that we made it up. Where most human beings you meet are completely nuts about money, right? And so especially you're a little kid, you're 5, 6, 7 years old, and you can't really get this conceptual thing called money. What is this money thing? So you listen to what your adults are saying around you, and at some point somebody says something, and you decide, I got it, that's money. And for most of us, it was something like, money doesn't grow on trees, or there's never enough money, or we can't afford that, right? For some of you, it's money is the root of all evil, or money is, greedy or bad. Other people have very different money, what I call it a money operating system. For example, there's always enough money, or if I'm good or virtuous, the universe will take care of me, or worse, daddy will take care of me. Right? So I grew up with a lot of there's never enough money. And it actually, we weren't poor. It's just that my mother was a really good budgeter and a really good saver. So I thought we were poor, and we weren't. But for me, there was never enough money. And also a little spice of money gives me value, like my income and my assets. That's how much I'm worth in the world. So you can imagine those two don't go together very nicely. I'm spending all the money that I'm making, by the way, in Silicon Valley as a recruiter. Before I was a financial advisor, making $120,000 a year, and I'm like spending $140. Trying to convince people, I'm trying to convince the people around me that I'm worth something, right?
Yeah.
Because I think spending money gives me value. Here, I'll buy that for you, and you'll like me. Turns out I don't even like you. Right?
Right.
So I was able to alter that. I was like, when I realized that there was no way, unless I got really serious about changing, that I was ever going to stop having financial emergencies. There was no way I was ever going to be financially independent or experience financial freedom unless I really, really altered what was going on. So I think I was able to alter that money operating system over time by both impacting what I was saying out loud about money and what I was doing about money. So, for example, when someone who thinks there's never enough money has money come into their accounts, they're always going to spend it. They have to, because otherwise there's enough money, right? So when I forced myself to stop spending all the money, and then I stopped lying about money. I started saying, I'm not going to buy that. Sure, I'll come out to drinks with you, but you have to pay for me. Like I was like telling people I was dating, like I'm living with my mom. Like I just got really honest.
Wow.
Yeah.
And, and so pretty soon the reality is, as the bank account balances grow, I have enough money, and I have enough money because I don't spend it.
Yeah.
Right. So I think I think changing your money operating system, first of all, is totally possible. Probably doesn't happen in an instant. And it's some combination of altering what you say about money and altering how you manage your money at the same time.
Yeah. And would you say there's only 2 money operating systems? Like I never have enough money and I have enough money, or are there more that you see out there?
I think there's about 7 or 8 core money operating systems. So believe it or not, there's always enough money is a money operating system. And so that can be a great one because those people don't have financial anxiety. However, what they also don't do is plan because they think there's always enough money. So I had someone once call me and she said, I just retired. I'm so happy. I've always been a great saver. I have $200,000 and I'm never going to work again. And I said, I can't help you. But that money is going to be gone in 4 years. You should have called me before you retired. But that person was definitely there's always enough money person, right?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So my husband got money is no problem. And truly, money isn't a problem with us. And when money is no problem, he also won't really talk about it. Like, it's hard for me to get him to discuss the details because it's no problem, right? And so each one, in my opinion, left unexamined, brings some level of stress, problem, suffering, something like that, right? So you have the ability to surmount your money operating system. And he will, because I've talked to him, he hears me talking about this stuff all the time. And sometimes we'll sit down and he'll go, well, I just handled that. And I look at him and he says, oh, money is no problem. I said, yes, you need to actually tell me the details. So
that's great.
Wow.
Helpful putting a label on it for me. Like I was definitely a person who's like, I never have enough money. I probably never will. And now I'm really trying to shift to I have enough money. Like I'm doing okay, and more money will come in, and I'm trying to go that way. But it's a constant internal battle.
It really is. And believe it or not, that belief will alter the opportunities that you pursue, the people you call, the networking that, you maximize because of that belief is in the background all the time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's kind of a domino effect. It seems like we talked about that because all 3 of us around the same time decided to move to be closer to one another and kind of like upgrade our living situations. And I had so much fear about doing that. I mean, I was dragging my feet for months and months, even though the area that my fiance and I lived in was not very safe and just like bad things kept happening. I was like, God, but what if we move to this more expensive place and like we go homeless or something? Like, what if we go broke? But sure enough, everybody was like, look, if you just take that leap, it's actually like what your quote said at the beginning. If you just take action, there's like magic and power to that. And sure enough, like other doors opened that, I don't know if they would have opened otherwise, but they did. And like, we've been okay so far. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I found that it's like,
I think that's
sorry, go ahead, Hillary.
I was just going to say that's a perfect example.
Yeah, it's terrifying, but it's kind of like you do get that positive affirmation with each step you take. Like, oh, okay, I'm still going. I'm still floating.
Yeah. And of course you have to do that within reason. Like you can't be like, money will come. Let me just sign that yacht lease. Yeah. Can you lease a yacht? I don't know how yachts work.
No, don't lease a yacht.
I also found like if anybody is self-employed, charging what you're worth, what you feel your time worth is a huge issue for me, or like in the past, like not asking for raises that I knew I deserved, all that kind of stuff. So like, that money mindset can just affect everything. And if you can just shift that, you could make more money because you're going to believe that you're worth more and all that good stuff. Anyway, do you guys have questions?
I feel like you're trying to defer to us to be polite, but you're also like, I mean, so for people who are kind of like afraid to talk about money, even to themselves, because I think there are a lot of people who are even like afraid to log into their bank accounts because they're like, I don't want to face it. What are like the right questions to ask yourself about your financial situation, Hillary, to kind of get you in that place of like, okay, I'm going to hopefully increase my income while also like becoming more responsible about budgeting, not spending, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So first of all, I was definitely that person when I was an overspender. I never wanted to look at the bank account. First of all, it would have given me a mental budget, and second of all, half the time it was overdrawn. Right.
Yeah.
I would say do this. set aside an hour, get out your journal or a piece of binder paper or type on your MacBook if that's your device of choice. Maybe light a candle. I don't recommend wine when you're thinking about, you know, alter your consciousness. But just write down the things you think are true about money. And that is your money operating system. Money doesn't have any objective truth. It doesn't exist. It doesn't have a nature. It isn't scarce or abundant. It just is, right?
Yeah.
It's a blank slate, right? And so the things, it's like the water you swim in about money. And if you refuse to talk to other people about money, there are things that you say to yourself about money. It's, you know, start with just react to the statement, there's never enough money. Is that true for you? Look at your bank accounts. What's your experience of life? Can you pay your bills? Do you have the things you like? Are you saving for the future? Right? And I bet that once you get started writing down the things you think are true about money, maybe start with your money story. What's that origin story from your childhood? And by the way, interestingly, I think it's important to add this bit that I went back and I interviewed my mom about money when I was doing my own financial transformation. And, you know, she took the opportunity to let me know that she wanted to hire me as her advisor. She actually is a client now. And
wow, that's cool.
She was about to retire into a very lucrative retirement. I say to my mom and her husband, you guys spend more in retirement than anybody I know. They've done really well. So and so I think the point is that what I glommed onto as a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old or a 10-year-old who couldn't get the Nike high tops, it wasn't true in reality. We weren't poor, right?
Yeah.
She just wouldn't spend on the things I wanted. So when you look back at your origin story, just know that that's the story of a young child, right? And you could go interview your family too. That's a great thing to do, actually. You're going to find out a lot, especially your siblings.
That's an amazing idea. I'm definitely going to be doing that.
I'm definitely doing that. I feel like I grew up like the flip-flop of you, Hillary, where I didn't think I was poor because my mom cared so much about like not wanting to disappoint me and my brother that she would just charge things to credit cards that she didn't actually have the money to cover, and then got herself into problems. And I didn't realize until like she had declared bankruptcy that I was like, oh, like, I guess we do have money problems. And, you know, I was being raised by like a single mom, single parent income, while all of my other friends, both of their parents were still married. And I knew that I was like the poor one of my friends, but I didn't realize we had like real problems until I started to notice, oh, this is how my mom copes with money issues, is that she just wants to make sure her kids are happy. But in turn that, you know, creates so many other problems.
Yeah.
That's like more of a rude awakening, right? When you think that there's enough money and it turns out there's actually massive problems. It's like getting slapped in the face.
Right, exactly, yeah. I had a question about student loans, and I wonder if that's a really common issue you see, especially with like young women, people who are coming right out of college, because it's so tough. You get hit with these loans while you are just trying to spread your wings and like be financially independent. And I know for me, I've been able to pay off one of them. I'm in the process of paying another. And then there's one that's just like huge. It's thousands of dollars. And I'm having trouble even like starting to chip away at it because it's so daunting that I'm just like, oh, I'll just keep doing like income deferment plan or whatever, like low income deferment, just keep pushing it off. Do you have advice for people? Like, am I doing the wrong thing? Should I just start tackling like the debt and the interest that's accumulated with that?
So I have a strong hatred for low income deferment programs. And here's why. Because you have to keep your income low. I think rather than focus on whether you should pay off your student loans, why don't you go focus on making $250,000 this year?
Right? Sounds pretty nice. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, you know, money does solve problems.
Yeah.
And so if you've already incurred the debt, I mean, if you haven't incurred the debt, then by all means, minimize the debt. But if you've already incurred the debt, there's nothing to do except pay it off as quickly as you can so that you can get started building your nest egg.
Yeah.
And so I'm just a big fan of women having like wildly high income.
Fuck yeah, man.
Yes.
Us too.
Yes.
I mean, I know sometimes easier said than done. And I've been working my tail off for 4 years in my own, like I own my own shop over here. And my business revenues are getting to the point where they're actually impressive. Like on an objective scale, I am making more than the massive amount of business owners. But it didn't start that way.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So again, I'm not hand waving how tough that is, but yeah, for you, I would just say, forget the debt. Like, yeah, put it off as long as you can, but go focus on bringing your income up. Don't stay in low income deferment programs.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. That's
Just
great
changing the
advice.
mindset, it sounds like, of like,
Right.
when you start to freak out about it, go like, well, I'll just do low deferment, like 6 months from now.
Yeah.
Saying like, don't think that way. I mean, do it if you are still at that place. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Taylor?
Thanks to Myro for supporting our podcast. Myro delivers natural, effective deodorant that looks as good as it smells. They make their natural deodorant with a custom blend of essential oils that release over time to keep you fresh, as well as barley powder to keep you dry. Their formula is hardworking, long-lasting, with nothing toxic, 0% aluminum, 0% parabens. Their ingredients are clinically tested for safety and function, and you can choose your scent and the color of your case. Get a refresh every 3 months delivered straight to your door, conveniently timed for when most people run out. You can switch scents, press pause or stop at literally any time you want. I'm super into Myro, as you know. I've been on a plastic-free binge recently, and they are refillable. This company is awesome. And the fact that the fact that they have no aluminum, that is like the number one thing I look for in any deodorant.
And they're just cute.
They're so cute.
Oh my gosh, they're so cute. You can pick the color of your case. You can pick like what you want to smell like.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. It makes me feel like a little celebrity.
It's like a custom deodorant.
It's so it's like mine's blue. It looks like a little R2D2. It's just like so compact and small. I love it.
Yeah, it's precious. To get your account started with 50% off your first order for only a $5 total purchase with the discount, visit mymyro.com/helpless. That is mymyro.com/helpless and enter promo code helpless. That's 50% off your first order to get started for only a $5 purchase by visiting mymyro.com/helpless using promo code helpless.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I feel like I have a different experience as a kid anyway, where like when I got older, I was like, oh, we didn't have any money, but my mom was just really good about like budgeting, and I'm like, oh, we just went to thrift stores all the time. Like we just
So that sounds similar to
didn't eat
Hillary.
very healthy.
Yeah.
Right. So so not being aware of low income or money problems, but it's just because my parents, I think, handled it pretty well. I mean, are there things that for specific, because we have a lot of listeners who are like in their 20s, early 30s, are there specific financial steps, whether it's, just retirement, whatever it is that people our age don't think about because, we're 22, we're going to live forever. That you recommend to people in this age bracket at this time in their life that like, hey, I know nobody's probably told you to worry about this, but you should be worrying about this and you should be taking steps to do it.
Yeah, if you are in your early 20s, you're lucky to be in a position where I can say start early. And if you do, that actually makes a difference. Mostly when I talk to groups of women, they're in their late 30s and 40s, and I don't even bother to say it because that time has already come and gone.
Wow.
Right? So if you can open, if you qualify to contribute to a Roth IRA, that probably is going to be a great asset for you in the future because you pay income tax. And in your case, if you're low income or medium income, you pay a very low tax rate on it. You put the money in an account, let it grow for a couple decades, maybe 3 or 4 decades, and you never pay tax on it again. So that could be a huge asset for you in the future. Other things, be vigilant about your credit. When you do want a high FICO score to buy a house, and in my opinion, that's one of the only reasons to have a good FICO score is to get a mortgage. And to get good interest rates on your credit cards, right? But you should have points credit cards, and you should pay off the balances every month. But be vigilant about your credit. Like get maybe 2 or 3 points cards. Make sure that you don't not pay off the balances at the end of the month. And if you can, as soon as you can get yourself on a savings program, do that. The biggest leverage points in most people's financial lives are, one, where they live, and two, the car that they drive. So when I say leverage point, I mean it's the biggest expense. So if you overspend, it's a massive deal. And not buying a latte every day is never going to help you recover from being someone who always has an auto loan.
Yeah.
Right? Like the amount of money that you will pay to service the debt on an auto loan, if you're someone who borrows money every time you buy a car, is so massive. It's like $1 million it'll cost you over your lifetime.
Oh my
So
God.
pay cash for your next car. Yeah, like be a person who pays cash for cars. And if you get nothing else out of this podcast, I just handed you $1 million.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So true. Oh man. Hillary, can you kind of like give us the steps that you took to kind of get out of debt and thrive and all of that? Like you mentioned, you moved in with your mom, you handed your car in, you rented out your condo. Like how long did that take? What was the process? All that good stuff.
I did. So actually what I did was, while that was happening, and I said to myself, I bet I can make this easy for people, is I looked back and I looked at what I actually did. So I created a 7-step framework. Sound like a good thing to go through?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Love it.
Okay. So the first step is really to decide. So you have to decide that in your financial life, your goal is to reach financial independence, to be financially successful, to make a lot of money, to save enough that you can stop working at some point. And a lot of people say, well, I've decided. And the answer is, well, okay, but if you didn't start taking other different actions after you decided, you didn't truly decide. Okay. Just like, when you said, I don't know which one of you said that you were hemming and hawing about moving to a new neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
And you were,
Kelsey.
you were
Hi.
like, yeah, you were like thinking and worrying and thinking. And then finally you decided and you took an action called you scheduled the movers, right?
Yep. Yeah. We gave
or
our
you
notice.
signed the new lease.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So deciding always precedes action. Okay. So then the second step is, and I made these all one word, so they're, it's like a pretty little framework. So decide and then speak. The second step is speak. And we already talked about the importance of the money operating system and the things that you say about money. Like, for example, you should never say, I can't afford that again. And if something isn't in your spending plan, just say, I'm not going to buy that. Like, that's not happening. Or if you really want it and you can't see the money right now, you just say, well, let me go see how I'm going to get the money for that. That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's 2. The third is plan. You got to have a plan for your money. You definitely would not get in your car to go to your girlfriend's house if you didn't have the address. That would be stupid.
Yeah, it's a great analogy.
So good.
Yeah, but that's how most people run their money, right?
Yeah.
And then kind of how to get extra credit on that one is most people plan their savings by saving what is left over after they spend. So you can win that game by deciding how much to save and then spending what's left. And that makes your net worth go up every single day. And that, for those of you listening, your net worth is what it's all about when it comes to your financial life. So you want to be growing that net worth, which is the total of your assets minus the total of your debts every single pay period if you can, okay? So the fourth step is ask. And so there's a million ways to ask for more money. You can negotiate. You can ask for a discount. You can ask for a raise. You can double your prices. Lots of ways to ask, but you want to be expanding the size of your financial life all the time. The fifth step is earn. We talked about earning. I like to say the number $250,000 because I want you to react to it. I said it earlier, right? I'm like, well, what would it take to make $250,000? Like, anchor on something. Get something specific in your mind. Mine has been $500,000 for a long time.
Wow.
And I just think it's good to have something very specific. Okay, The sixth step is invest. For those of you who are young, maybe your first experience with the stock market was the financial crisis. Lots of folks out there have post-traumatic stress syndrome when it comes to investing. But I promise you, and it's totally outside the scope of this conversation, but there are super, super, super smart, evidence-based, like scientifically proven, low-cost ways to invest that will probably earn you higher returns than your neighbor, uncle, or family member, okay? Like, you'll probably get higher returns than anybody you know, just because most people screw it up. That's the truth. Most people mess up investing, period. Okay, The 7 is protect. So once you've built your castle, you have to build a moat around it. You ask 100 women, what would you do if I gave you $1 million? And they start talking about all the people they would give it away to. Keep it for yourself. Okay?
Fuck them bitches.
Like Mark Zuckerberg created a plan to give away his billions of dollars during his lifetime, and that's fine. Once you have enough, you can create a plan to give it away. But until then, you need to be in sufficiency so that people around you are well and nurtured by you, can be taken care of by you. I promise you can make a massively bigger difference when you have enough, okay? And part of this step is also insurance. I mean, if you're listening, you definitely need auto insurance. Whether you rent, you need renter's insurance. If you own, you need homeowners. Like, get all the insurances. If you're parents, you definitely need life insurance, like a a term life insurance policy. I don't sell insurance, okay, so I'm not hawking my wares. But you do need insurance. And so those 7 steps, if you, any story of financial failure that you've heard is a failure to execute on one of those steps. Most people just think about earning. There are a million courses and coaches that you can spend $1 million on learning how to earn money, but they don't teach you what to do with it once you have it. So preserving your money and growing it is a very separate skill from earning it, and you have to have both.
Wow.
So good.
How can I sign up to work with you? I just want to work with you so bad.
I know.
This is awesome.
I have a question, kind of like the money operating system-esque question. So if somebody out there is working a job and they haven't gotten a raise in a long time, but they think they deserve one, but they feel like the guilt for asking, or they don't even know where to start, how to present it to their boss or whoever it is. Like, what kind of tips or advice would you give them? Should they write out like all the things, all the reasons why they deserve a raise, and go in there like having rehearsed this saga or this monologue, or like, where do you even start with that?
So I think you have to do your research, and you have to be armed and prepared for the conversation. I think you need to know what folks in your industry are earning. It's been a long time since I worked in a corporate environment, so I don't know what it's like to ask your coworkers how much they make, but it would be great. In a perfect world, you would go ask the other folks working at the company what they're making, and they would tell you, because transparency works. But I know that that's not always possible. And then you want to have a really well-developed conversation around, first of all, what are the things that your boss said he or she wanted from you, and how have you executed on them? What extra steps have you taken, and what kind of value have you provided for the company? I do believe there's evidence. So first of all, anytime you ask for something, you want to have a reason why. So it's been shown through research that if you give someone a reason, for example, I go to Starbucks and I say, hey, can I have a discount on my latte? Now, he may or may not say yes, but if I say, can I have a discount on my latte because it's National Long Hair Day, that I have a much higher chance. I have a much higher chance of getting that discount if I give a reason. Okay, so anytime you ask for something, including a raise, you want to have a reason. So I'm here, and also ask for a specific number. So if I earn $75,000 a year, I'm asking for a raise to $79,000 a year. And the reason is that other people who do the same thing I do, according to Glassdoor.com, in the same area, are earning $80,000. And since I came on the job, you've asked me to do X, Y, and Z, and I did W, X, Y, and Z. Right? And ultimately, in any negotiation, she who wants it less wins. Okay? So here's what I mean, is that let's say you're dating and there are 3 really hot dudes vying for you.
Sounds great.
Obviously, if you don't get hot dude number 1, you have offers from hot dude number 2 and number 3, right?
Yeah.
Versus a situation where there's just one and he's a commitment phobe. Now, obviously, if you need to get married in the next year, you are in a step down situation if there's just one commitment phobe. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's all intuitive to you, right? It's like, here I am. Okay, this commitment phobe, and I need to get married in a year. I'm feeling a little needy here. I'm feeling like there's a chance I'm not going to get what I need. Versus I've got 3 great prospects. Well, it's the same in any negotiation. So you want to know where your drop dead point is. So if you're going to ask for a raise and if they say no quarter after quarter after quarter, well, if you don't leave that job, ultimately you're never going to get what you want. So it would be great if you had an offer in your back pocket, right? And that's how you be the person in that negotiation who wants it less. Because if they don't give you 79, you can get 81 down the street.
Right.
Wow.
So that's a great
That would
game
be
plan.
ideal.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
That's good for show business too.
Think of it as lining up your hot dudes.
Yeah, there you go.
I could do that.
I had a question about, you're talking about savings accounts. Is there a particular bank or institution that you find their savings account to be like one of the better ones to go with in terms of interest rates, stuff like that?
Yeah. Same with credit cards and all that stuff.
Yeah. So, and I'll just pull out my wallet right now. First, we'll talk about savings accounts.
Okay.
I use nerdwallet.com as a reference site for all of those questions. So you have highest high yield savings accounts. You have best points credit cards. There are different best points credit cards for people who travel a lot versus spend a lot of money at grocery stores. So I myself have the American Express cashback card. I just think it's really simple. I get basically 3% cash back on everything I buy.
Okay.
The Citibank something cash card, because I bank at Citibank.
Okay.
But you can find lists of best credit cards and best high yield savings accounts because they change, right? So NerdWallet keeps it up to date.
That's so awesome. I've never even heard of that.
No,
That's a huge resource. Thank you.
We all just grabbed our phones like,
taking notes.
yeah.
I have a question. I mean, you're obviously self-employed. You've built this incredible business for yourself. When it came to like setting your prices in the beginning, and like how did you like expand them? Did you expand over time? Could you come out hot with like, the top price in the industry? Like, and how did you kind of get over that hump of like, I deserve X amount of money and this is what I'm asking for, and if people are not into it, then they're not for me. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I am definitely not a fake it till you make it person. And I think if I was looking for a financial advisor, maybe if there were a way I could distinguish certain personality traits, that's one I would actually like. However, there are lots of times in my life when I've wished that I was more confident without evidence. I'm someone who definitely needs some experience and evidence that I'm good and provide value before I do that. So then to really answer your question, I still remember the first time I was working in my dad's firm. She called me up. She left a message on my voicemail and she said, I need a new financial advisor. I met you at this thing and I'd like it to be you. And she was basically in this situation where her current boyfriend found out that her financial advisor was her ex-boyfriend. Okay, so he was pissed. Right. So she wanted a female. And I was like, I called her up and I said, well, how much money are we talking about? And she said $2 million. And I almost fell out of my chair.
Wow.
Right?
Whoa.
I was like, $2 million? Are you kidding me? Right? So she comes into my office and I put the contract in front of her. Of course, I had an hour of coaching on this from my father, and my brain is screaming, like, why are you signing this? Like, what are you doing? I don't have any clue what I'm talking about. And she's signing the contract, and there's like this other voice screaming in my head, like, just don't interrupt her. Like, don't say anything.
Yeah, don't fuck this up.
Right.
Exactly. Don't fuck this up. And she's still a client. She literally is still a client. Wow. She's my longest standing client. So anyway, that was the first client, and kind of prices in my industry are kind of standardized. Like almost everybody charges 1% of the account balance that we manage. And so, so over time, I've tried all kinds of things. I had like an online course. I was afraid to charge $299. I had a business finance course. I was afraid to charge $695. And I think that course made me $30,000 total. I've never quite figured out how to sell online courses. That was never my forte. And I think I bust my ass. Honestly, I have worked really hard, and I happen to have a skill set in public speaking. So I go speak to groups of women, and it turns out to be just an awesome way to make connection. If you're vulnerable and share about yourself, people get to know you, right? And so I've had a lot of people hire me I'm grateful to have hired staff underneath me. So I have 4 women that work for me. And so as you go, you raise your prices and you raise your minimums because you have to.
Yeah.
Like I felt like the floor has risen below me, kind of a thing. And so, this year for the first time, basically everything I do is a $10,000 minimum. And I know that probably sounds nutso to you guys listening.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's inspiring.
That's really cool.
Very inspiring.
Yeah, it's been good. And I still, like, 5 minutes before I called in for this interview, the gal who was interviewing me started asking questions. She's a podcaster and she's not happy with her current situation. And I feel hesitancy to tell her I have a minimum. Like, I don't want to say it. It's still there.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I'm not perfect, but we all teach what we have to learn, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's a good quote.
That was good.
Yeah. I wondered if you help people who are in relationships and talking about like financial mindset within a relationship.
Good question.
I feel like not very often do 2 people feel the exact same way about money in a relationship. And I just wondered what your advice was on that.
So my experience is that differences in relationship really get worked out during the second step in the framework, the speak step. So honestly, you get together because you're romantically compatible, and a marriage, if you live together or run your money together, that becomes a business finance partnership. So some people try to like not acknowledge the other aspect of their relationship. Well, here we are because we had a lot of chemistry, but we haven't talked through the business aspect of our relationship. And so like, as an example, I worked with a couple last year who they're Silicon Valley engineers. They're making, $450,000 a year combined, and they had $200,000 in credit card debt. And they couldn't figure it out. Like, they're saving in their 401k, so their net worth is way above zero. But every month they pay off some of the credit card debt, and then they rack it right back up again. So, and they were just at loggerheads about it. And so over the course of the program, what we saw was, she had a very practical money operating system, but he had a more emotional one, that he had an aspect of him that he felt was an artist. He wanted to do photography and music. So every month, but he had taken this job as an engineer to support his family. Like, he had sacrificed this aspect of his self-expression, right? And so he's buying photography and music equipment every month, and it's expensive. And she sees what he's buying, so she keeps tightening her belt, and she asks him, please stop buying this stuff. And all he hears is, I don't want you to be a full human being. Right? Like your self-expression doesn't matter to me. What matters is money. And that wasn't the communication from her at all. Yeah. And when we got down to it, it's never a money issue. It never has to do with money. It always has to do with some aspect of psychology. And my experience is, when you discover it and bring it to bear and actually find ways for him, and we were able to find ways for him to continue buying photography and music equipment, right? I mean, he already has a massive amount of it, so he can just, now that he knows what's going on, he can just use the stuff he already has, but he also has a budget, so he can buy it just less frequently. And they paid off, by the way, like $77,000 in debt in 7 months. It was like pretty incredible.
Wow.
So, yeah. And so, like, we talked about money operating systems earlier. So imagine if money makes me powerful, or money gives me worth, gets together with money is the root of all evil. It's like World War III waiting to happen, right?
Yeah.
But it's unacknowledged. They don't know. They probably don't even know what their money operating system is. They just think that's true, right?
Yeah.
So when you walk through that framework and you really look at your strongly held beliefs about money as just that, something to be thought about, but something frankly to be challenged. And you look at money like a business, I think that you can take a lot of the emotion and frankly a lot of the conflict out of money.
That's really smart to view it as a business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is business.
That's what your partner is, a business partner.
Yeah, for sure.
A partner in every sense of the word.
Yeah. I just feel like so often when you're talking about it, like you said, it does turn into more of an emotional thing and people's backgrounds and stuff like that, as opposed to that it is just money. It's just objective.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some financial coaches who make it seem like they say, oh, well, talk about your money story. Like, let me tell you about all the pain when my parents got divorced and how, there was child support and blah, 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 blah. And then you tell me your story of you being a multimillionaire with a silver spoon in your mouth. Mm-hmm. And people act like that has any bearing on anything. That's just what you got imprinted with. That doesn't mean you're stuck with it.
Yeah.
Right? You can have any financial reality that you want. Your current financial story doesn't have to limit you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What would you say, Hillary, to like people who are listening who feel like they're beyond help, like they're too far in debt, like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars? Like, have you seen somebody turn around like a huge, massive amount? Like, is there anything that's too much? Is anybody beyond help, or can everybody get this kind of help?
Thanks for the soft lob. Yeah, I love to tell this last story. So I have a hero from my coaching program last year. So, and I'll call her Danica. It's not her real name, but she came into the program. She had been working for a decade as a real estate agent. So she did have $400,000 in income, but she also had $450,000 in expenses. She had $200,000 in credit card debt and almost $85,000 in IRS debt. And she had a very compelling narrative, a story about a divorce that she had survived. Now, if you're in your 20s, maybe you didn't survive a divorce a decade ago, but you have some story about why money is the way that it is for you, okay? Mm-hmm. And so she was always telling the story, and everyone around her was enrolled in the story, and people gave her and her kids free places to live, and she had personal loans from all of her friends, and everyone felt sorry for her, and they were very inspired by her being this martyr/victim, right? Mm. And I said to her, Danica, you've done well. You're a survivor, and I'm glad that the divorce didn't kill you. But as long as you have a story about being a survivor/martyr/victim, you will never triumph, because the survivor/martyr/victim is always 10 feet from the summit. And you'll always keep yourself 10 feet from the summit until you decide that that story is part of your past. And so, and she really got it. And she went around to her colleagues and her friends and her kids, which was massively powerful because she was spending so much money trying to buy their forgiveness for what had happened. Oh, and she said, she's like, I can't take care of you and me. I need to take care of me so that when I get old, you don't have to take care of me.
Right.
And they said, we totally get it. We never expected this. It's all good. Like, we're earning money. Go, Mom, you do you. And it was like she became a magnet for money. She used to dance into our mastermind meetings. We have these Saturday meetings where we all sit around and talk. And she was like, you guys, I don't even know how I managed to be here. I have so much work. It's ridiculous. The listings keep pouring in. And if you don't know the real estate industry, listings is how they really make money, selling houses. Mm-hmm. And so she finished 2018. So we met in January. And she had made $400,000 in 2017. She made almost $900,000 last year.
Oh my gosh.
Jesus. That's
Is that insane? She has no more debt. Her, interestingly, her tax planner, her CPA, negotiated her IRS debt, so she got like $20K for free.
Wow.
She built up a $90,000 savings account, so a curveball account. Most people call that their rainy day fund. She's just like dancing on clouds every time I see her. And she sends me inspiring quotes all the time. She's always texting me. It's so cute.
So quotes make you rich. That's what you're saying. We should be making far more money if quotes are the key.
Wow.
So I do love to tell that story. And I think it's a perfect example of, a lot of people think how you make more money is you work harder. Mm-hmm. Well, in her case, she had a bubble around her that was keeping success from her. And I'm not a woo-woo person, but your life is a function of what you say. Like, we're a conversational species, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that everyone who's listening is mostly hindered by the speak step, but it is a critical aspect, and you can make a massive difference in your life by altering what you say about money.
Man,
God, that's good. And isn't there something funny that you've named your bank accounts, if I can remember, from one of your podcast episodes? Can you share that with us? Like how to make it fun?
Yeah. So instead of categorizing your money based on dumb categories that everybody does, like utilities and gas and clothing and self-care and blah, 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 nobody ever abides by budgets like that. I hate them. I've never seen them really empower anybody. Like, people come into my office and they're like, here's this budget I spent all day Saturday creating. I say, great, have you ever abided by it? And they go, no. So scratch all that. And now you get to categorize your spending based on when you made the decision to spend it. So if you're already contractually obligated to something, such as your mortgage, your rent, your insurances, your subscriptions, your memberships, those are yesterday's promises. Then you have your funding tomorrow, your tomorrows, right? So your short and long-term savings, those are tomorrow's dreams. And then what's remaining is the amount you get to spend today on groceries or restaurants or small gifts or Ubers, going out, whatever that may be. That's today's fun. So yesterday's promises, tomorrow's dreams, and today's fun.
I love
And
that.
my accounts are literally
great.
named that. Okay.
I love that.
That's just it makes it feel like attainable, right?
Yeah.
Like, it makes it feel like you can achieve that.
Yeah.
Just 3 categories. Simplified.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love it.
Man, I'm so fired up to
I know.
go make money.
I know.
I'm just like, "Ugh."
Make it rain. Oh man.
Well,
This was incredible.
This was incredible.
Thank
Yeah,
you
I hope
so
you
much.
do. We should do like a reunion show in a year. We should come back and you can tell me how much money you made.
We're all
Oh,
making
dude.
millions of dollars.
That would be fantastic.
We would love to have you back on. That'd be so
my
fun.
God.
So much fun.
Yeah, Hillary, where can people find you? All that good stuff.
Sure. So I'm currently accepting applications into my annual coaching program. If you're interested, you'd like one-on-one accountability and coaching, just go to 50kwealthmultiplier.com. So it's 50kwealthmultiplier.com. Everything I do is at hillaryhendershot.com. That's Hillary has 1 L and 2 T's. And if you have room in your podcast lineup and you'd like to check out a personal finance and wealth empowerment show, check out Profit Boss Radio anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Oh, it's so good. You guys have to listen to Profit Boss. I love it.
I know. I'm like subscribing right now.
Yeah. I'm very fired up.
Anything else you'd like to leave our listeners with, Hillary? I mean, you've already given so much,
Yes.
but anything that we didn't cover?
I think my biggest message to people is that no matter where you are, no matter how deep the hole is, no matter what you think about what it means about you that you are doing what you're doing in your personal financial life, that anything is possible, that you can turn around any set of results, and the world really is your oyster. And so you just got to get out of your own head and get some new conversations and some new actions in your life. So my voice in the world is that anything is possible for you.
Aw,
Thank
Love
you
it.
so much, Hillary. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
This was awesome.
Thanks,
Have a good one.
ladies.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Talk soon. Bye.
Bye.
Wow, dude, I love her so much.
I know. She's great. I can't wait to listen to her podcast.
Dude, I just like want her to be like my big sister, you know?
Yeah.
Or like a cool aunt.
Yeah.
Right? Like she's just so I was telling you guys, like, she's somebody that I can listen to her voice and listen to her speak all day.
Yeah.
I can binge listen 1,000,000 episodes of hers.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's so funny because she's like, don't say you can't afford things.
Yeah.
But as soon as she said what her minimum was, it was like $10,000 to work with her, right? So, and immediately I was like, oh, I can't afford it. I'll try to be better about shifting that. But I was like, damn it, I really did. I would like to work with somebody at some point, but she's like, it sounds like the big kahuna. So maybe there's somebody who's like a little bit newer.
Or you'd be like, you know, how can I save up to work with Hillary Hendershot?
Yeah, there you go.
There
right?
you go.
And freaking flip the script.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, do we have dates to plug?
Yeah.
'Cause this comes out on the
22nd of April.
Hope everyone had a good Easter if you're into that.
That's
That was yesterday.
Nice.
Painting some eggs of some kind.
Paint some eggs of some kind. They're chicken eggs.
Vegan
usually.
eggs. If you have paper mache eggs, that's probably better.
Goodness. You're so funny. I am at Moon Tower Comedy Festival this week, the 25th through the 27th in Austin, Texas. So that'll be really cool. And then I'm back headlining the Comedy Works downtown in Denver, May 8th through 11th. And then on the 12th, I think I'm there doing Doug Loves Movies in the afternoon. And on the 7th, I come in a day early. I'm going to do a show in Fort Collins. So if you're in Fort Collins, that's pretty cool. And then I'm in Dayton, Ohio May 17th through 19th.
Awesome. I'll be headlining the DC Comedy Loft May 3rd and 4th. This is Kelsey, by the way. I know sometimes.
Oh, yeah, that was Taylor, that first one.
That was Taylor.
A bunch of people just scratch things off their calendar. Like, I thought that was Kelsey.
Oh, shut up. I'll be at the DC Comedy Loft. Kane will be featuring for me. It's going to be a really fun weekend. I know that we have a lot of DC helpsters, so go to kelseycook.com for those tickets. And I also have like a bunch of other road dates coming up that are just kind of sporadic. So go to kelseycook.com and see if there's anything in your area.
Beautiful. I've been really enjoying making dick mugs for people's weddings and stuff coming up. I think it's fucking hilarious that I'm going to be part of your day somehow. So because it's wedding season, if you want to, go to dicksbydelaney.com, get those, those wedding
Mugs,
dicks,
shot
mugs.
glasses.
Yeah, just doing mugs right now.
Oh, you're
that's
just doing
been
mugs.
the most popular, the best seller. That's what people get really riled up about.
What you're known for.
Yeah, so that's been hilarious. And then another thing, I'm now offering creative consulting just to our patrons on Patreon right now. So if you're interested, go to patreon.com/selfhelpless and join our Patreon, and then hit me up via email if you are interested for more information. It's been super cool.
Awesome. And please, if you haven't yet, subscribe to Self-Helpless on iTunes. Give it a 5-star rating and review. That's how we stay on the iTunes charts and keep moving up. It really takes no time at all, and we really appreciate it. And just tell a friend if you love Self-Helpless. Spread the word.
Yes.
Yay.
All right. Love you guys.
Love you.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
You guys, we love you so much. Thank you for supporting Self-Helpless. You can follow us on social media on Instagram and Facebook at Self-Helpless Podcast. And you can visit selfhelplesspodcast.com for all things Self-Helpless. Learn about Patreon and how to sign up. Our merch is there. Information about our Facebook group and how to join. All the episodes you can listen to are on there, a little bit about the show. Our individual sites are linked there, and our contact information, email, and P.O. box if you want to send us some love letters. And you can follow us individually as well. I am at Delaney Fisher on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and DelaneyFisher.com, where you can watch my docu-comedy special, Love at First Cousin, for free. And then dicksbydelaney.com if you want to buy some dick mugs.
Sweet. I'm at Kelsey Cook Comedy on Instagram, at Kelsey Cook on Twitter, kelseycook.com for all tour dates and merch. And my album, Savor It, is still available to buy on iTunes, and you can watch Wrists of Fury, my foosball web series that has an episode with Taylor and Delaney on the All Things Comedy YouTube channel.
And I am at Taylor Tomlinson on Twitter and Instagram, and ttomcomedy.com for my Netflix special and all live tour dates.
Sweet. We love you guys.
So much.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye-bye.